Okay, we will go ahead and start the town meeting of the Code Enforcement Board for Lake Clark Shores, March 20th, 2023, 6:30 PM. Emily, would you please call roll?
Paul Hughes,
Present.
Gerard Sanchez,
Present.
Ariel Hernandez,
Present.
Deb Moody,
Present.
Wesley Cook,
Present.
Kristen Vera,
Present.
Nicholas Spinelli.
Present.
Thank you. Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nicholas, we're going to welcome you.
Thank you.
If you would please stand for the oath of office.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just read it.
All right.
I state your name.
I, Nicholas Spinelli,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of Code Enforcement Board member
the duties of Code Enforcement Board member
of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida,
of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Emily, you have that?
Yep.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes of the February 22nd, 2023 Code Enforcement Board hearing. Any unfinished cases now in compliance and any new cases now in compliance. Are there any amendments to our last meeting from anyone?
No.
No? Okay. Dana, Eric, are there any unfinished cases or new cases on our agenda that are now in compliance?
Yes, on,
Don't go too fast now. I'm a little slow here.
okay. You just yell at me if I go too fast. I'll slow down. On page 4 at the top, case number 23-0053 for Margaret Stewart. It is in compliance. However, that is a repeat offender. So we'll still discuss it, but just so you know, it's in compliance.
Okay, you're right. Okay,
And then on page 5, the very last case, case number 23-0069, Robert L. Denton for the business without a current tax receipt. They are in compliance. And that would be all of them.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Chair would remind you that if any of the board members have had any conversations with any of the property owners that are come before us tonight, or any of their neighbors, or personal information, if you would please disclose that at the time of our
Visits.
case presentation. Mhm.
Disclosure of visits.
If anyone in the audience or staff members are going to speak before the meeting tonight, if you would please stand to be sworn in by the town attorney.
Mr. Moore?
Over this way. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item of business is unfinished cases, lien and position hearing. The case is regarding Mr. Joseph Shear and Cassandra Shear. Dana, do you have anything to add here?
I don't have any updates, but Mr. Shear is here.
Okay, Mr. Shear, come on down.
Hello.
Is everything taken care of?
Everything is taken care of. I had my final inspection approved. Everything's in compliance.
Okay. So your existing fine is $7,400 plus administrative costs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Best to your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. I don't hear you
I
asking anything, so
didn't know if you were done speaking, sir.
go ahead.
I would ask the board to waive this. This was a long process. I've been here, I think, coming up on a year now.
Yes.
I've complied. I've shown up to every meeting. I've been here to essentially get this taken care of and done right by the town. The fine, that was simply, I thought I was moving along the motions until I got the second notice. And that's when I immediately took care of the situation with getting inspected. By no means was I trying to drag this out or come to another meeting. I've been here too many times and I've simply just wanted to comply. And that's why as soon as that was brought to my knowledge, I immediately handled it quickly, swiftly, and by no means wanted to have any more hiccups with you guys, just wanted to comply.
Well, we're certainly glad you're in compliance after all this time. Comments, questions, Mr. Shear?
I have a question maybe for Dana. The original violation date was February 23rd of 22. And I know Mr. Shearer had trouble, didn't have trouble, I should say that the code, the board that takes care of it,
The zoning board?
zoning board, sorry, didn't meet some of the time. So, because that, they put off their meetings for whatever reason. How much time was lost by Mr. Shearer because the committee did not meet? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I just recall there was a meeting, if I remember correctly, and he wasn't able to get the documents in. Does that sound familiar, Emily?
Yeah, so the zoning board meetings are every other month. So, and none of them are canceled unless nobody is applying for anything. So I don't remember the exact timeline, but I think what we wanted to occur was to for him to go to the zoning board. I think it was back in July, and then it would have been approved by the town council in August. And that didn't work out. So because he didn't submit his documents in time, you have to usually submit the documents, I think it's a month before the zoning board meeting. So, so it was pushed, I think, to the next one.
Does that sound right, Mr. Shearer? I'm not saying it's wrong, but could you enlighten us on that?
Something along those timelines. I don't remember the exact dates. It's been so long.
Comments?
We have complete final inspection by county, by town, everything.
Everything,
Everything is the way
right?
it's supposed to be.
Yes. Okay, so Mr. Shear has asked us to waive the entire fine and administrative costs.
Well, my opinion is we shouldn't waive it all anyway, because Mr. Shearer didn't comply with what he had to do. Exact amount, I don't know how to figure out where from February 23rd till whenever July or whenever it came to the zoning board to get approval as to where that would be. Emily, do you have any idea?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
My question is, from February 23rd to when the zoning board approved it
Mhm.
was how long?
Well, the zoning board approved it in November.
Okay.
He was only being fined from September 28th, according to your
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
calculation sheet.
And when did the town council approve it?
In December.
As I recall, you didn't apply for a permit originally. You just built the trellis.
Yes, because I
And
wasn't
you,
aware.
and you put it in an area that,
I put it on the south side of my property. That's essentially a dead zone. There's no gate access over there. We don't use it. It's blocked off.
because you didn't know it was too close to your neighbor.
Truthfully, with it being a trellis and nothing with a structure or power or water running to it, or a proper roof on it, I really didn't see it as a full-on building or structure. I saw it as an orchid arbor, which I did not know was something that needed to be permitted. So as soon as that was brought to my attention, that's when I went ahead, applied for the permit. The permit was rejected. I got a new survey done. I went through the whole process of meeting with the variance board and so on.
Okay, well,
I think a fine reduction would be in order.
you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Based on the evidence in case number 22-0050, I move that the board reduce the fine of $7,400
Plus administrative costs.
plus administrative costs to $250 plus $50 for administrative costs. If the respondent fails to pay the fine within 30 days of this order, a lien against the respondent's property shall be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
All right, do we have a discussion on the motion, which basically is a $250 fine plus administrative costs of $50 to be paid within 30 days? Discussion?
In my opinion, this has gone on for over a year now. And I think that's too much of a reduction in the cost.
Wesley, would you like to amend the motion?
I would amend the motion to $2,000.
Is there a second? No second. Okay, we're back to the main motion. Are you ready to vote on the main motion?
Yeah, I think you can.
Or does anyone want to amend the main? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
So it's a $250 fine and $50 administrative fees, $300 total
To be
to
paid.
be paid within 30 days.
Okay. And who opposed? It was Ms. Moody and,
Okay, the motion carries. You understand, Mr.?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm
guys.
glad we're done.
Me too.
Okay. Next case is unfinished cases, fine imposition hearing. Charles Moore, 7957 South Clark Drive, case number 230040. Mr. Moore, we're going to ask Dana or Eric if they have any additional information to add before you speak to us.
I have not been in contact with Mr. Moore, so I don't have any updates in
Okay.
regards. He's
Okay,
here.
so Mr. Moore has 5 cases here.
No,
Oh,
no,
one.
he has one.
One.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's the next one.
Apologize. I need some new glasses here. It's electrical work without a permit, is that right? Mr.
Light switch, light socket,
Light socket,
yes.
okay,
And I submitted the blueprints and, I mean, everything that needed to be done. My brother's office sent it in, and I dropped off the paperwork the other day. I missed the other meeting. I want to apologize for that. I didn't know I was supposed to come in here because I thought that we rectified it at the front office over here because it was pretty basic. It was a light switch. So I didn't know, so I want to apologize for that. But whatever I need to do, that's why I'm here.
And you have your permit now, Mr. Moore?
No, I'm applied for, everything's all taken care of at the building department here, but I didn't get the permit yet.
So you've applied for a
Oh,
permit.
yeah, I sent all the paper.
And when was the original notice, Dana?
So this was the very first notice was October 18th of 2022. And I believe his got kind of stuck with another pile, and that's where the time lapsed, if I remember correctly, in the last meeting. So that wasn't his fault for how much time went between. This
But
is
he
the one
did-
that there was a complaint.
He did get an original
He
notice?
got an original notice, yes, but he never had reached out to me or anything like that. This was something that was issued from a complaint to the building department. And then I think, if I remember correctly, his actual violation, because it's just the door hanger, I think it kind of got caught in another, and that's why so much time lapsed from October to February. That was not his fault.
Caught in another,
Like, it was caught with another violation in a pile. So that's why the first violation is in October, and then he wasn't issued a hearing notice until February 10th for the February meeting. So you understand there's like a time lapse that's not his fault. But he never communicated with me at all.
so did you get the October?
No, I didn't know anything about that. There was something on my door. I was out of town. There was something on my door the other day, and I missed that meeting, the last meeting I missed, and then there was something on the door, and I brought the paperwork into the building department. It's for a light switch and, light socket, plug socket. And so I dropped all the paperwork off. Sorry about that. I didn't know it. I just didn't think about it, but I dropped off all the correct paperwork to the building department, and I don't have the permit yet, but I dropped everything off.
Does anyone have any?
Yeah, as I recall, there wasn't just a light socket. Didn't we have some pictures?
So this was per a complaint that we
Yeah.
received. The only thing I recall is electrical work without a permit. Manny was here at the last meeting and spoke on it.
And I thought it was like a complete remodel.
I don't know if you guys might be mixing it up with the Keller Road case. He's got a complete remodel, I believe
Okay,
he had.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Maybe that we could double check with Manny if we needed to. I don't know if there's no photos in the folder for it.
We
Mr.
might be
Moore,
confusing.
is your work completed?
No, I haven't touched anything. I don't even know if I even care to do it now, to be honest with you. It was a little breakfast room next to my garden, and just wanted a light there. And, I'm just not, I don't really care to do it. If I get the permit, I'll do it, I guess, but not that important to me.
Well,
But I'm confused then, because it sounded like the work was already done, which was the basis of the complaint.
There's a plastic plug where you plug in some light, light. That's on the wall. That's it. There's no electric work done.
Did you start doing it?
No, that was why I got the complaint, is because I got the plugs on the wall.
So you finished the work?
Oh, no.
No.
I didn't do anything because they got the complaint, so I didn't do anything.
So this is all over just one outlet?
Yeah.
Wasn't this the complaint
Yeah.
by the relative or ex-relative?
Ex-wife.
Yes,
Yes.
great.
No, crazy girlfriend.
Okay.
Smith knows her.
What about me? I know her too.
But it seemed to me like it was more than just a,
Brownie
Just
and
a-
black.
I remember what you were
Yes, I
talking
know.
about. But now I'm thinking maybe we're getting it confused with the other one.
Yes.
we very well may have, and
Yeah.
but
But I can always, if you want clarification, I can always contact Manny and give you an update at the next meeting, because I cannot attest to it. I did not see the work. I just knew that the complainant was adamant, and we asked Manny to go out there.
Do we have photos of
of this?
I don't, because I wasn't out there. I just did it based on Manny, and Manny was here last meeting.
Yeah, I
He's
remember.
usually pretty good about taking photos, so he might have photos and maybe we just didn't put them in the file. But if you guys wanted to extend it out, I'd be more than happy to get with Manny and get the information so we can make sure that we have the correct stuff for his case.
I mean, the permit hasn't been issued, so it's not like we can really do anything anyway.
No,
So-
It's the light switch. I don't really want to-
So was Manny at the property?
Yes, man. So when people do work inside homes and things that I don't have a right to see, Manny usually handles them, issues stop work orders, and I don't remember exactly what he did. I don't remember him
And he
saying that it was
issued a stop-
extensive.
Stop work order.
I would think so, but I don't have anything. So
Okay.
I'll write a couple notes and I can ask him if you guys would like.
So he said Mr. Moore should have a permit.
Yes. And Manny remembered the complaint specifically when I reminded him who the complainant was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he just had it as electrical work done without a permit. I didn't have any specifics. So it very well could be, just a light switch, but we can double check.
Again, if it's a problem, I don't need the light. I mean, I've already applied for it.
But you applied for your permit. You can, that's fine.
Okay, so the motion at the February 22nd meeting was for Mr. Moore to come into compliance. $150 a day
Did we have
fine
photos last meeting?
will
of
be
my thumbprint?
imposed.
Did Manny give us photos last meeting?
I don't remember.
Okay. I forgot to ask.
Sorry.
Is there any-
Well,
He would have.
I would like-
Obviously, not in compliance, the president.
obviously. So what I would like to see is an order to continue this until the next hearing and get Manny here and/or photos and/or compliance before then.
I would second.
Is that a motion?
I will make that a motion that based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230040, I move that this board continues this matter until the Code Enforcement Board hearing on April 26th.
I'll second.
I think Jerry seconded that. Any further discussion? You ready to vote?
Yeah.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Any questions, Mr.
I
Moore?
don't know. What do I have to do now?
Bill?
What do you have to do now is you have to get a permit.
Get a permit.
So he's dropped off his permit and I'm gonna ask Manny for the photos and what kind of work was done to give you an update at the next meeting.
And if
And
you
make
want to
sure-
do the work, do the work. If you
Get the permit, yeah.
Yeah,
But if I don't want to do it,
if you don't want to do it,
cancel the permit.
just cancel the permit.
And I think you would then, in order to be in compliance, remove whatever work was completed without a permit,
just an electrical box.
right?
Right, but obviously you want it. You submitted the permit. It's okay. We'll get the follow-up information and figure it out.
So I'll be in touch with you.
Yes,
Fair enough.
yes.
And we'll look at this again next month.
So make sure you come to the next meeting, which you'll get an order for it, but that way you can put it in your calendar when you leave. April 26th at 6:30, same place.
26, okay.
And I'll get those answers,
Thank you.
okay?
Thank you for your time. Sorry about the other day.
That's okay.
You're welcome.
Bye, Mr. Moore.
night.
Have a good one.
Okay, the next case is Mr. Christopher Barlow, 1422 Keller Road. There are 5 cases, 0041, 42, 43, 44, and 45. Are there any updates, Dana or Eric?
I haven't had any contact, but I do see some permits in their hands and Emily has some updated notes for his cases.
Yeah, so I was told that all the permit applications were approved and that they were picked up by the contractor.
Okay. In all of these cases, the board motioned that a $50 fine per day may be imposed if the permits were not in hand by this meeting, I believe,
I think it was.
or come into
until
compliance.
So
Excuse me, I
supplied.
apologize, until they would come into compliance. Okay, so questions, comments?
have you come into compliance? Have you,
Where do we
what have you
stand?
done with the building permit and are they completed? Have they been inspected?
Contractor.
Yeah, I'm Jesus.
But Jesus, did you swear?
No.
Did you? You
Yeah,
didn't
he was-
swear yourself in?
No.
No, he did not.
Could,
I
He
mean,
can
you
just,
could,
he can swear you in.
you
It's not
could
a big
swear you in
deal.
right now.
Swear you in? Are you gonna, were you sworn in, sir?
Yes, he was.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give me the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
okay, and could you give us your full name, sir?
Jesus Ramirez,
And what is your company name, sir?
All Pro Builders and Remodeling Inc. Yeah, we just have the permits approved last week and I picked them up, I believe either Thursday or Friday. So we're gonna start work tomorrow to get it ready for the rough plumbing and rough electrical. And then we're gonna follow the inspection process basically. We haven't started work yet.
Well, did you not do the work that
No,
was
I'm
the
the-
reason for the
no.
site? Okay.
Who did the work?
It's a handyman type of person.
Okay. So since our last meeting, no additional work has been done on your property. Okay.
And this gentleman's just doing the electrical and the plumbing rough, correct?
I'm the general contractor, I gotta oversee all of the
Okay.
work basically.
But you're working
You're
on,
saying the next up is electrical and plumbing rough.
Yes.
and then you're going to work on the other three
Yes,
violations?
then I have to fix, the other
Okay.
issues with the driveway, the fence, and the structure basically inside.
Then you got finishing.
Yeah.
You're gonna take it to finishing or?
Yes, after
Okay.
the finish, yes. So I already got my licensed plumber coming in tomorrow to inspect, to make it ready for the first inspection. Same thing with the electrician as well.
What's your estimate for project completion at this point?
Maybe 4 weeks.
Yep.
Try it before, so, but, that's an estimated time. So tomorrow we're gonna go there, we're gonna see, how much work the electrical can do before, the first inspection.
Mhm.
I'll say at least, 4 weeks.
I would budget 4 to 8.
So you also have a driveway to take care of, a fence?
Yes, the driveway needs to be corrected. It doesn't have this well, I guess they did it without this well, so for that I have to call for, I think it's an inspection. Ms. Laura told me that way they can come and advise us what needs to be done in there. Same thing with the fence.
What kind of inspection? I'm sorry.
It's just like on some building department, they call it
Special.
contractor assist, basically,
Oh, okay.
because we're not sure, so what it needs to be done in there, well, what kind of inspection they want, because the driveway is already done, the fence is already done, so I just want to see,
Right.
What needs to be done?
If the swale is not deep enough, they'll have to redo it.
Yeah.
And you got, and you need to make sure you get the instructions from the utility department on that service line.
yes, we have it. All of it.
So, but then we'll have to vote on these separately, okay? Would you like to make a motion?
Hmm.
We can't continue.
Yeah, you can, but each one.
Okay. All right. So,
Do you want to make a motion, Ariel?
yeah,
You make 5.
I know. Yeah, these are only 5 you're gonna get from me tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna order to continue here. Here we go. So, in case number 23-0041, based on the testimony and evidence presented before us, I move that the board continue this matter into the Code Enforcement Board hearing on April 26th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
Now, does the fine continue to run?
The fine isn't running yet,
We didn't impose.
or a
Well,
fine
we didn't impose
maybe.
a fine.
Well, then I think we might be going a little far. Why don't we work on whether we're going to impose a fine today and then go to the continuation? That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
But-
So the motion has been moved and seconded to continue the case.
Can we go back after this motion and
We can-
talk about the
we can-
fine?
We can defeat this motion.
Okay.
Are you ready to vote on the motion?
Who seconded it?
What's the
I did.
benefit of doing that?
The benefit is,
Point of that.
the
Well,
point of it
I
is
think we end up in the same place.
not necessarily, because this only says that we may impose. It's now been a month
Mm-hmm.
and,
And that continues.
and the work
we
hasn't been,
continue.
well, I just asked that question. The question was no.
Well,
this-
there's no fine, but I mean, this continues to be effective. And
Yeah, I think what you would need to clarify, are you extending the compliance date
I'm continuing.
no, listen, are you extending the compliance date or are you just continuing impose the fine back to today?
Everything's reserved, yeah.
Wow.
We're just, it's to continue the case and
The latter.
when we visit this in 30 days, if we'll then decide how to treat it. $3 a day, going back to whatever we still have that.
If it should be specific that you do, you can, sure. Because if you just continue it, it's a bit nebulous on whether the date of
So maybe.
compliance is
maybe if you
continued.
had
So
a fine of $50 a day may be imposed retroactive
Wouldn't
to,
that
what is about number 5?
conflict with what we had already?
We only may impose it. We did not. You could all just add to your motion that we will,
I'm just looking for clarification. I'm not looking to argue. I'm just looking for.
no, I
clarification.
understand that, but you could include in your motion to revisit the penalty on April 26th also.
I thought
So
that's implied by this order, the way it's written. It
Hmm.
implies that everything just continues.
Are we extending the date of compliance is basically what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still in the same motion or we gotta
So-
put down the other motion?
you're extending it till April
26.
26. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, effectively. Yeah.
Do number,
Is this right now
No,
No.
being charged daily? Okay.
no, but at the last meeting, we said it came into compliance or a fine may be imposed.
I'm just curious.
So you're continuing it exactly the way it is and
Mhm.
extending it to the next meeting.
Mm-hmm. That's mine.
You all right?
Yep.
Okay with that?
That-
You okay with that? I think we have a motion and it's been seconded by
I second
So,
Yeah.
so
Chris.
if I look at the motion sheet here, it's the number 5 that you're doing,
Mhm.
not the number 6.
Oh. Well, I picked number 6, but, okay.
You want me to
So
do it?
what they're asking me to do is number 5, not number 6. Okay. I understand.
So we have a motion on the floor. You want to vote against the motion and then redo the motion?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. You all right with that? Everyone all right with that?
Mhm.
You ready to vote?
Yep.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Motion fails. Okay. Ariel, you want to make a new motion?
No, I'm gonna go passive aggressive now.
I'll go with it.
No, let's go. So based on, yeah. All right, so based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 22 that.
41.
Thank you. 23, 41.
40. No, 41, you're right. 41.
Mhm.
And then you're going to repeat this.
Can you say 41, 42, 43?
No, we have to do
Okay.
each one individually.
That's why we have a town attorney.
I recommend that the responsible be found to have failed to comply with the order finding violation dated February 22nd. Given the evidence presented, I move the date for compliance to be extended to April 26, 2023, and a fine assessment hearing if necessary on the same day, April 26, 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll
I
second
second.
that.
You see how much more complicated this is?
All right, Deb seconded that. Are you ready to vote?
Wait,
So we can go retroactive
No,
no,
or no?
not with that motion. That motion, you just extended the date of compliance. So if the date of compliance is extended to April 26th, you're,
If they're not in compliance on April 26th, we can begin a fine. We can assess a fine at that time.
as of that date.
Right.
Yes.
shouldn't the date, these people are in violation today. Compliance, so they're in violation. So shouldn't we find the violation today?
No, the violation was found February 22nd. They've already been found in violation.
My position would be to start accumulating the fine as of the next hearing. I mean, since February 22nd, it looks like he's hired a new general contractor. He's went through the process of getting all of the permits taken care of, and it's not, I mean, we went through it all last time in all the photos. It wasn't just like one small issue. It was a number of things. So I think he's taking active steps to moving forward. So I don't know why we would start the fine today, in my opinion, based off of what he has presented today. I think we should wait until the next hearing and assess where he's at that point. And if he hasn't made any progress at that point, then we can obviously talk about a fine starting to accrue at that time. But for today's purposes, I don't think that we should impose a fine.
Further discussion?
I'd like to add, is it possible at some point to get brought up to date on some of these continuing cases? Because I didn't see the photos. I don't know.
Yes. So this one, I guess.
Well, I don't need it
Okay.
now. And just.
Well, I'm curious, you started doing the work, but I mean, you just went ahead and did the work, not thinking that a permit was needed or anything on,
And was it a full
I believe I am.
interior remodel?
Yeah, it's like a gut.
Walls down,
I don't recall.
new plumbing locations, new
I know
electric?
there was, yeah, I know there was electrical work being done, correct?
Electrical.
And there was, if I recall correctly, the driveway, you had paved over a certain area that, I guess the water needed to, yeah,
Water meters.
yeah. And had placed some kind of plate there that wasn't, I guess, up to code, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Asphalt driveway.
Okay. And then you installed the new fence.
I have a couple photos handy of just the driveway, the exterior stuff. I don't have any in the
Okay.
interior.
And again, it doesn't
If-
have to be
if
now, like
that would
at some
help,
point I just,
You can look at it if you
Okay.
want. That way you can.
Okay, so
And
we
you guys
have,
can
we have a
continue.
motion. Are we ready to vote on the motion?
I have a question.
Yes.
If we approve this motion, then Mr. Barlow would have had 2 months to do things correctly. Am I correct?
Yes.
But no, he said no work has been done since the last meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But what I'm saying is we don't start the violation, the fine until April 26th and he's in compliance, there is no fine. So in essence, he's had from February, whatever, till April 26th, doing the work without a permit, and there will be no penalty for that. Am I right?
Yes. I mean, the way the motion's worded right now, yes.
I personally don't think that's right.
Well, but he hasn't, I mean, at that point, if the work is completed and he's passed final inspection, it's not that he had completed the work without a permit. It's that he started the process without a permit and obtained a permit halfway through.
I don't think you need to complete the work in order to not get a citation.
He just needs to get the permit.
You need to get the permit, then do the work.
Well, we don't know if the driveway
Well,
is going to pass
true.
at this point.
The one thing I wanted to mention is that for you to be considered in compliance, you have to have the permit and all required inspections. So your final inspection would have to be completed by April 26th in order to be found in compliance and have there not be a fine associated with the violation.
I understand that. May I address the board?
So I recall last meeting that, which I believe was February 22nd, the date has been referred. We had applied for the permits at that point. I was told on the record that 2 of those permits were approved, the fence and the driveway, and that there was, by contractor was contacted about some open questions on the remaining permits. That's what I was told. That it was not true. Anyway,
Well, as I recall, the driveway was an issue at the last meeting, and the work had been to, as far as you're concerned, it was completed, but not according to
The public works
Building
gentleman.
inspector.
the building inspector.
that's correct, sir. Yes. So at that point, I was asked, in order to be in compliance, if I could complete the work by this next meeting. I said, I need the permits.
Right.
And I was told 2 of them were approved. They weren't. So here we are today. The permits were approved. Right. This is Monday, 3 days ago. So I'm doing the best I can, folks. And I'd love to, trust me, I'd love to complete this, but we're not the holdup. We haven't been the holdup.
You know, the issue, Mr. Barlow, I think, is the fact that you went ahead and started all this work without ever seeking to get a permit to do any of it. I think that's the problem. And how we go forward at this point is the second problem.
I acknowledge my culpability on the first problem, sir.
What's that?
I acknowledge my culpability on
Right.
the first problem.
I think you did the last time too.
But it's kind of it's a paradox of having me, I'm doing everything I can.
Well, we want you to come in compliance. But I think that there may be some of the board members, I don't put words in your mouth, may have a problem with the fact that you started all this work and never got a permit. And you said at the last meeting, you didn't know you needed a permit, as I recall. So we have a motion. What is it? What is the motion, Emily? You tell us.
It's motion number 5. It's to extend the date of compliance to April 26th. It was made by Hernandez and seconded by Moody.
Okay, and there's no fine in place.
That was
Right.
defeated. Correct?
No,
We haven't voted
Oh,
on
we
it.
haven't voted on it yet?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. So are you ready to vote? Again?
Yes.
Any more comments?
I hesitate to.
No.
I mean, it seems like he's not going to come into compliance by that date anyway. I mean, construction
I wouldn't
wise,
think so.
so,
There's a chance, there's a good chance of that. But then we can continue it again.
okay.
So we'll be right here again at the next meeting, probably.
That's why I actually think we should just continue to
The May.
May. You asked me, so, how can I kill my motion?
You have to amend you can't amend it, somebody else has to amend it.
I want-
Correct?
Who made the motion?
Hernandez.
Yeah, you.
He
need
wants to
somebody else.
amend it to the
I
next,
guess you could withdraw your motion.
to the May.
Can I withdraw? Yeah, I would like to withdraw my motion.
Is there anyone opposed to Ariel withdrawing his motion?
No.
All in favor of the motion to withdraw, say aye.
No.
All right.
I seconded Emily. Okay, Ariel, you want to make a new motion?
Yeah, to continue as I originally intended.
You want to read it?
Yes. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0041, I move that this board continue this matter until the Code Enforcement Board, May 24th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
Further discussion?
I think we're setting a precedence here of people, hey, let me take a chance.
We've
and not-
talked about this already in our workshop.
Let Jerry finish.
Sorry.
It's good.
I apologize, I wasn't here last month, so
Good.
my apologies, and I missed on this conversation, but I think we need to understand one thing. There's a lot of people, and I'm not faulting because there's some work, we do stuff in our house. We didn't think we needed a permit. There seems to be a lot of work here though. But I think we ought to think about, are we going to set a precedence here with other cases coming in the future of people don't ask for permits and they're all ask for it later. Let me get my hand slap forget. So I think our board should really think about what we're going to do with these motions, because this is not going to be the only one that comes up the same matter. The problem is you started something and should have gotten a permit, be it big or small, but you should get a
All right, let's
Wasn't that
level
why
set
you
here.
amended the
because-
motion?
So no one has seconded your last motion. I don't
Yes.
believe.
Kristen did.
No, I did.
Kristen
Oh, you
did.
did.
Because isn't that why you amended it in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's level set here. We had a workshop where we talked about being efficient with our time and not requiring residents to repeatedly come over back to the word month after month when we know that they're not going to be able to get things done in a certain amount of time. I'm exercising that judgment. I have proposed a motion for the 4th time.
Okay, so your motion, you have a motion, it's been seconded.
And I'm following protocol. I'm not coming up with anything new.
Well, my point,
Okay, and this just continues it. This does not, we don't lose our right. We don't lose, I'm not slapping, we're not slapping his hand and just letting him, sending him off. He's got to come back and he's got to be in compliance.
I thought the town attorney said that the question on the fines was up in the air, correct?
Yeah, if you want to retain the ability to impose the fine as of today, which I think you're saying, you're going to continue, because it's one or the other. You can do that. You can continue the hearing, but if he does not comply by April 26th, we as a board reserve the right to impose the fine as of March, let's say 20th. Or the motion that was withdrawn was we're going to extend the date of compliance. You wouldn't fine before the date of compliance. If you extend the date of compliance to April 26th, then when you come back on April 26th, if he's not done, you can fine as of that date. You can do either. I'm not telling you you can't do one or the other, but I think the motion needs to be clear which you want to do.
So continuing it allows us to come back and fine as of today, but extending the date of compliance does not. We could only fine beginning the date of the next meeting.
Yeah. Well, I would specify even that we're going to extend, we're going to continue the hearing, but we reserve the right to, if this is what you want to do, reserve the right to impose the fine as of March 20th in the event of non-compliance by April 26th. I mean, if that's what you want.
Okay, well, we have to dispense with the motion that's on the floor.
Would you amend your motion to add the verbiage that our attorney just recommended, that we be able, reserve the right to be able to impose a fine effective March 20th?
So we actually need that extra verbiage that
That's
this
what he
motion
just said.
doesn't.
Well, I think it makes it clear. I mean,
I think it's-
otherwise you're continuing it and
Right. We're just kicking the can down. with,
yeah.
We're just making it
No.
more complicated.
So Ariel, are you willing to do that? Otherwise, we'll have to vote on your motion and pass it or fail it.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so I'll amend my motion to state that the board reserves its rights to impose a fine on the April
$50 a day.
$50 a day on the May 24th meeting.
April
No.
26th.
My motion said May 24th because it's at best, it'll take them 4 weeks to get it done. I know construction never works on time. So
Well, what
How long you think you're gonna have everything
That's what
done?
he said.
It takes 4 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
Well,
Is realistic time?
Well, and we are on number 41. So, I mean, there are other things that he was going to do, it sounds like prior to even getting to the driveway. So I don't think that moving this particular item to the May is going to serve a bad purpose.
So we're at the May meeting.
Correct.
Do we all understand that? Does Emily understand
Yeah.
that?
So if we're extending it to May now
Yes.
and they come into compliance by the May 24th, do we still reserve the right to fine them from March 20th?
Retroactive.
Retroactive.
That,
Not if they're in compliance.
yeah, that maybe I'm not explaining, but when you extend the date of compliance, that means if he complies by the date of compliance, there's no fine. Just,
Yeah.
that's,
But if,
Right.
if he does not comply, then does the fine revert back to March 20th?
The motion was to continue the case, right? And if it's continued, this would be one that would be dismissed for compliance at our May 24th meeting. We wouldn't hear it for a fine.
yeah, if you want to reserve the right to impose a fine, you just should say so in your motion. I mean, I'm not telling you you have to, but if you want to, you should.
And you did, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did.
We all understand that?
Mm-hmm.
So this will come before the board on May 24th.
Yes.
To see-
Unless it's in compliance.
If it's in compliance, it will not come before the board and we'll have no opportunity to assess a fine, correct?
Can I add something for the record for you guys that I was just informed? So hybrid has occasionally been a little backed up due to shortages in their office. And also they've had a little bit of rule change where they've become a little more strict. So with the work that he's doing, it would require more inspections. So it would be near impossible for him to complete all of the work by the April meeting based on their new guidelines, because he'll need multiple inspections. It's not like he could just complete the work and say, hey, come out and inspect it, and they just drop what they're doing and come out. That doesn't happen. Whereas they didn't require as many inspections. So his is a little bit more lengthy. And I'll add that when he was issued his violations, I believe I was off, but he did come in pretty quick and meet with Laura to find out, hey, what do I need to do? I didn't understand this stuff. And she went over stuff with him. Whereas I know in my 16 years of experience of working here, that doesn't always happen. Most people have ignored the violations and don't do anything until sometimes when the code board sets fine. So I do give him appreciation for that, just to let you guys know that he did do that. I don't know if we remember that. when
But
I
my
said-
question
So
was,
just so you know.
if he comes in compliance before the May 24th, he would not appear before us again. Is that correct?
Not really.
It depends on what your motion says.
Well, this motion here, the motion we have.
And what is the motion?
To continue to May 24th.
And then to reserve the right to impose a fine going back.
Yeah, if you reserve the right to impose a fine going backwards, back to today, he would have to come back.
So we would see it on May 24th, whether he's in compliance. Well, if he is in compliance, we'll see him on May 24th. Is that correct?
If that's the way the order is worded. If it says that if you're going to continue the case, I mean, you're getting, I think what's
Why would you-
getting off is just continuing the case. You know, if you can do that, but why are you continuing it? If you want to get more time to comply, you can do that. I mean, that's totally your prerogative. If you don't want to give them more time, you know, you would impose a fine now. You can always forgive it or reduce it, because we're getting into going in circles, I'm afraid.
I would ask legally, what do you think the best
Way forward.
way forward is?
Well, I think either, and this is up to you as a board, either extend the date of compliance or impose the fine And when he complies, then you can look at imposing a lien, and you could, just like with Mr. Shearer, you can say, well, he did a good job, we're going to reduce it.
I agree.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. Is there an objection? Okay. Is there a new motion? Would someone else like to make a motion? Wesley, would you?
I'll try it since I might as well. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 230041, I move this board find the response in violation of section 10-991 sub A.
I'm sorry, but he was already found in violation, wasn't he?
Yep.
He was already found in violation, so I think.
Okay. Based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 230041, I move the respondents be found in, they're not in compliance.
Remains in.
They're not in compliance.
You would want to look at number 3, I think.
Okay, I withdraw that one. We'll
I think
try this
there's
one.
too many options here.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230041, I move that the respondent to have failed to comply with the order finding violation dated 2/22/23. A fine the amount of $50 a day is imposed commencing on March 20th, and such fine shall continue to accrue until that daily rate until compliance is achieved. In addition, the town's costs in processing this matter shall be assessed.
I'll second
it.
that.
Deb. Okay. I hope there's no discussion on this. I'm kidding. Is there? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. So now you got to read it one more time, Wesley.
Okay. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230042, I move that the response be found to have failed to comply with the order finding violation dated, same date, I think, 2/22/23. A fine the amount of $50 a day is imposed commencing on March 20th, 2023, and such fine shall continue to accrue at that daily rate until compliance is achieved. In addition, the town's costs of prosecuting this matter shall be assessed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230043, I move that the respondents be found to have failed to comply with the order finding violation dated 2/22/23. A fine the amount of $50 a day is imposed commencing on 3/20/23, and such fine shall continue to accrue at that daily rate until compliance is achieved. In addition, the town's costs in prosecuting this matter shall be assessed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next one. Based upon the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230045, I move that the respondents be found to have failed to comply with the order finding a violation dated 2/22/23. A fine the amount of $50 a day is imposed commencing on 3/20/23, and such fine shall continue to accrue at that daily rate until compliance is achieved. In addition, the town's costs in prosecuting this matter shall be assessed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Did we do 4-4? Did we?
Did I skip that?
Did we?
We should have 5 motions on this.
Yeah, I think so.
You think we got it?
2,
Oh.
3, 4.
No, I think you skipped it.
We skipped
44?
4-4?
Yeah.
How could I do that? Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230044, I move the response be found in compliance. No.
No.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 230044, I move that respondents be found to have failed to comply with the order finding violation dated 2/22/23. Fine the amount of $50 a day is imposed commencing on 3/20/23, and such fine shall continue to accrue at that daily rate until compliance is achieved. In addition, the town's costs in prosecuting this matter shall be assessed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're done for tonight.
They come next month, just for an update?
May.
Oh, you got
No.
completed, but do we want an update or?
He can call me and give me an update if that, you guys have done that in the past for other people.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to come.
Yeah, there's no reason.
Or call Eric.
Um,
I think he gave you his business card. We could help,
Alright.
we could do that.
May 24th meeting.
Sure.
And you'll get the paperwork. Thank you.
And then we
Sorry.
want to make sure that we have photos so that our new code board member can see them. Because he had asked, correct?
mhm.
Of the interior.
If they're available.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
we
anyone
have
that
them. It's
can-
just that Manny
I
had
think
them.
we should have, anytime a case comes before us, we should always have to be able to refer back because it is times that.
They were photos that Manny had, so.
Is Manny usually at these meetings?
He comes to them as we request him to come. He came to the last meeting and testified.
You all are done.
We
So-
appreciate, thank you. So
Thank you.
do these people come back on May 24th?
Yes.
Yes.
Just so we're clear,
Yeah.
you know?
But they're
Even
gonna
if-
give an update.
But they're,
Right.
for the April meeting, you want him to give me an update to
Right.
where he is and we'll provide it.
So even if he's in compliance on May 24th, he still should come to the meeting. Is that correct?
No.
You
Why-
don't have to?
I don't know. I'm confused. Why would, if somebody's fully complied, why would they come back? Why would
Because we'll
we-
be talking about a fine.
Well, see,
Yeah,
you
he'll
you would
probably
have,
want to do a
you'd have to
fine
schedule the
I'm very confused.
lenient
Why-
position.
I wouldn't,
hearing and then they.
I
come
wouldn't
in.
see why
Okay,
we
all
would
right.
fine
Right.
them if they're in compliance.
Okay,
So he really, I mean, and it's fine if you want him to come back and give you an update, but
Why are we?
let's just say he's not in compliance. Well, there's nothing to be done because the fine's running.
okay.
Okay, but if he's complied and you want to impose a lien, you would schedule a lien imposition hearing and then you can talk about, you know, these really ran up and we're willing to reduce the fine or whatever, you
Okay.
know.
Thanks again.
Thanks. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Okay,
Don't forget to call us and let us know so that we.
we're on to new
Okay,
cases.
before the next meeting. Have a
Case
nice night.
230034, David James.
Mr. James is not here, so with all due respect to the individuals who are here, could we pass over his case
Yes.
and go to the page 4, case number 23-0089 for Mr. William Murphy, since he is here, so he doesn't have to continue to sit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And this is a case that was fully done by Eric, so he'll be providing testimony.
Case 230089,
Yes, correct.
William Murphy.
Oh, that's your house, Mr. Murphy.
Um,
You do such a great job.
Eric, would you like to
Yes,
bring us up to date, sir?
yes, sir. Good evening. I am Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon with the Town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 23-0089. The property owner is identified by William H. Murphy, site address 1841 Evergreen Drive. The notice of violation was issued on 2/21/2023, sent out by regular mail and posted to the property. The violation was for section 34-19, subsection 9, subsection Bravo. The driveway was dirty and required cleaning. Also, section 30-4, the removal of holiday decorations. For the holiday decorations, this one is a repeat violator. The notice of hearing was posted to the property and to town hall on 3/9/2023. I have not had any communication with the property owner, so as of today, the property is still in violation.
We'll discuss these two cases together if there's no objection. Mr. Murphy, would you like to address your driveway first?
Do them separately.
Yes.
No,
Um,
because you did them all on the same day. It's just how-
I had a
When
machine.
you do your sections.
I thought the machine would work, then the parts didn't come in. I borrowed another machine, it broke. So finally on Sunday, I went and bought a machine, the driveway's clean.
That's the current.
No, that's not current, that's.
No,
what
that
it
was the picture that was originally taken on the date of the violation.
That we're looking at now.
Of the hearing notices.
Just the hearing date. So that's what his driveway looks like today.
No.
Which ones are today?
I'd like to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd like to see the original.
That one looks cleaner than the other one.
Yes, that's the clean driveway. You see the dirt that came off the driveway
From your
because of the
pressure.
swale. It lays
So the
in the
driveway.
swale and I have to sweep it up later. But that is current.
So when I checked the driveway, yes, that part is clean. Up closer to the driveway, I wasn't able to see because there was an additional dirty spot. If you're saying that spot's clean, I can go out and re-inspect that.
Yeah, it was clean yesterday.
Okay. Then I can go by first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I see that he did remove the lights that were on the top of the roof, but I don't know if you can see it in the photo. I did take a closer one. There are other lights that are still hanging, and he does still unfortunately have the holiday decoration out, the red one.
The inflatable?
Yes, sir.
That's,
That's the wood house that he built, right? The red one is the wooden house?
Is that
Yes.
inflatable?
Doesn't
or
it
is
usually
that-
have Snoopy for Christmas?
it does have Snoopy
it
for
did?
Christmas. It
Now it
had,
has
it had a,
leprechaun.
a Valentine's decoration on it for Valentine's, and it has a,
Leprechaun.
yes, thank you,
For St. Patrick's Day?
for St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
And the lights were on the roof that they're off, but I still have it along the,
Along the gutters.
yes. And I,
Was your intent to take those down, Mr. Murphy?
my intent is that Easter is coming, so I'm decorating for Easter.
With the holiday lights?
Yes.
And do you take the little red building up and down, or you just leave it there
I
all the time
can-
and redecorate it?
I can take it down after Easter. It's unscrews.
How long has it been up?
Since Christmas,
Christmas.
he changes the
The
theme.
theme.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Murphy? Comments?
Related to the driveway, the section that's closest to the street,
What he's saying is that
It's
that's
the
just, yeah, basically what he cleaned off. And because
Yeah,
of the swale, it doesn't drain out.
Residue from
Welcome
Quillian's?
to-
Yeah.
well, I'm looking at that whole section from where the concrete, and then is that
That was one,
blacktop or is that more concrete?
Yeah.
that's more concrete. It was just a big puddle until it evaporated, right?
right. And then I sweep it up.
And then he
Okay,
sweeps
and
it up.
then what about the paver bricks that are off to the left? Were those cleaned as well?
He's-
I'll label things.
I didn't think that they needed it. If you think they need it, I'll go and do it.
I was just
Yeah.
basing on the pictures that were shown, I would consider that part of the driveway,
Okay.
and it looks like it needs cleaning,
Hey,
but
Eric,
Yes, sir.
the question is, was he cited at all for the pavers to the, what I'm looking at is to the left of the driveway?
No, it's just for the driveway
The
itself.
concrete part down at the
Yes.
bottom? Yeah, okay. So he wasn't cited for
It
that.
was a driveway.
All right, so,
Um,
so the driveway you say is all clean now?
Yes.
Okay. And the issue of the, you still have lights up,
Yes,
and they've been up since Christmas,
they have been, yes,
and you intend to take them down after Easter.
after Easter.
And the building, the little red building, has been up since Christmas,
Yeah,
and you intend on taking it down after Easter.
right.
Okay. Comments?
Is this a yearly tradition?
It-
Keep it, I know Christmas time, everyone lights up or everything else, but.
I
so
do
every
every,
holiday You do.
do every holiday. The
for as long
4th of
as-
July, the doghouse will come back and I'll decorate that again.
So I believe in the code, isn't there a certain time period in which decorations are supposed to be removed?
Let me read the code to you. It's
Yes, sir.
short. Says all seasonal holiday decorations shall be placed, erected, or installed not exceeding 60 days prior to the holiday and shall be removed within 30 days after the holiday.
And is there a definition of the holiday? Does it recognize every?
I don't know, I guess you could have every holiday and.
Yes.
But I don't see a definition of holiday and
I don't see.
How long have you been decorating the red doghouse thing? How many years?
3 years,
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
but it has not been up for a year.
Right, but
No,
a tradition of yours for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Snoopy has been around the
Longer
yard
than the
at different
house.
locations. This time last year he got stuck in that location.
Okay.
I don't think the intent of the code is to leave decorations up for 3 or 4 months. It says 30 days.
it says 60 days before and 30 days after. I guess question is what's a holiday? I mean, maybe it's implied to be Christmas, but Easter's a holiday for some certainly, and
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day is a holiday.
That's not a.
It's not a holiday. It's not like
So,
banks still closed.
I'll let the board know. I think there's
I
some
think-
new board members, but Paul Hughes might remember. There is a house here that gets to keep their Christmas lights up all year, and they've been up for like, I don't know, 5 years, maybe more, maybe even 10 years. I'd have to look at the file. And I can't walk in the store and buy those lights right now because they're Christmas lights, but the code board allowed that resident to have Christmas lights up all year round.
On what basis?
So it's always been a little bit of a confusing ordinance. Ariel knows the house. Do you remember the case?
And what was the basis for which they were
I think
allowed to
that-
do that?
Neighbor,
There's some
Oh,
accent
The
like.
backyard.
or Christmas lights
Yeah,
are
that
up.
was in her backyard.
And she added them to the rest of the house because the code board said she can. So she keeps them up.
She's got different
Quite time.
lights. She's got different lights in the front.
Landscape lighting.
So I've always been confused on the holiday one. It's always been a tough one every time it comes to the board.
Is there a definition of holiday in the code?
I don't see one. No.
It's a
No, there's not.
define it.
Well, then I think there's probably some room
'Cause-
for improvement in the code. So,
Federal holidays, no?
You can use.
Well, I don't recall putting up Easter lights.
Yeah.
You know, in all due respect, I mean. I appreciate a neighbor that gets into the spirit of different things in our culture, so that I understand. But I also understand we have leniency on one and all of a sudden we'll have 10 people doing whatever version. So like, I don't know about the one for 10 years, Christmas lights, but I'm just, it's kind of like an all or nothing, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah.
well, I don't think though, we can start making a definition of the word holiday for the code without it going through the town attorney. I mean, if it says 60 days before a holiday and 30 days after and holiday isn't defined, then what is a holiday? And so I think at this point, I mean, kind of 60 days after and 30 days before, it's definitely 30 days before Easter. So I think at this point, there would be room for him to argue against that. However, if the code was revised, it's not to say that he wouldn't be in further violation down the line.
It's also hard to go against the code enforcement board that allowed this other house to put theirs up. That's set a precedent and leave them up. It's like switching midstream,
Could we start by asking, do you want to keep it up?
Your problem is, what is holiday lighting over decorative lighting of my house? So I might have something up, and I'm not saying what it is, but I might have something up as decorative and have something up that looks like Christmas, but isn't Christmas, it's decorative. But right at the moment, I am doing holiday lighting. But after the holidays are over, is that decorative lighting or is that holiday lighting? So you've got a problem there.
I've always tried to explain it as if I can walk in the store at the time and buy the lights, then that's what I classify it as. So like I used, I think when I gave testimony for that property, the lights that resident has on the house, I could not walk in the store and purchase. And they were saying they were patio lights. So that's what I always tried to use as a guideline, but that made it a little tougher for me. So now you have a new opinion.
Makes sense, though.
Mr. Murphy, I think I asked you this before. Are you going to remove the little red thing?
Yeah.
After Easter?
After Easter.
Okay.
It'll come back for 4th of July though.
And it'll be down within 30 days.
Of the 4th.
Yeah.
It'll be back in May for 4th of July. And then come down in August.
60 days, right?
60 days before, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think it's hard for us to make a decision until we get a definition of what holidays we want to enforce.
Are there other holidays that you decorate for?
Easter, I'm sorry, Halloween. And, no, that's covers them.
You've been before the board before because of this? Or you've been cited before?
Yes.
And what was the result of those 2 meetings?
If I remember correctly, I think Mr. Murphy said, oh, I'll just take them down. Does that sound familiar, Mr. Murphy?
Yes, it was, I could have fought because of the then called Christmas lights. And what is a
That
Christmas
folder?
light
Oh,
over
what's this?
something else?
So the lights that you are having that will go on for Easter, are they multicolored lights? Are they white lights?
No.
They're white light.
The one string is what you would call Christmas lights because it's a bulb on a string and
They're those like C9 bulbs
yeah,
or something?
like
Yeah.
that. But
Okay.
there's 2 rope lights on the roof edge that are not, that's decorative.
Like the ones you'd see, like if you were in an Italian restaurant in a patio.
Yeah,
Those black,
no, it's,
that's what I'm trying.
Those are bistro lights.
Bistro lights, okay.
You think, can we have a motion?
So to answer your question for the holiday decorations, he was last at the Code Enforcement Board meeting on August 16th of 2021.
And what was the result of that was he said he'd take them down?
I'm pretty sure that's what I remember, him just volunteering to say and saying, hey, I'll just take them down. But the photo that I have, Mr. Murphy decorates a lot. He's just been decorating longer than I've worked here. I think that one was because the garage door was actually painted with snow for Christmas.
it was a winter scene. And I couldn't do anything else but a winter scene.
And then there was some lights, but I don't see like where I can say that specifically is it. I just remember him volunteering
Well, I'll
to
take
take care of it.
the easy one. I'll take the easy one, which I think I deserve an easy one.
This is
So the concrete driveway,
20, okay.
yeah. 230089, section 34, so section 19, subsection 9, subsection B. I, based on the testimony and evidence presented in that case, I move that the board find the respondent in compliance with the town code of ordinance and dismiss the case without prejudice.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion's been moved and seconded. That Mr. Murphy is in compliance, so.
You didn't take any photos today? You didn't take any photos today of your drive? Yeah.
No,
I don't know if you're looking that way.
So I'm looking at you.
Okay, yes, I did take pictures.
Okay. So they look like the ones we're looking at,
What do you want to see?
driveway. That's the one we're talking about now,
Oh.
the driveway.
Eric took those
Those
photos
took-
today.
Yeah,
Today?
today.
No, I didn't take pictures.
Okay.
A couple hours ago, a little bit before the meeting, he took them.
Okay.
But we didn't see before.
He actually, normally there is not before
Yeah, I agree with
photos,
you.
but he did have a before and Emily had that up there.
Hold on.
So
I'm
you can
sorry.
see the before and after.
What was your name? Eric?
Yes.
Do you notice a difference?
Yeah, so the main part you're looking at right there, yeah, that's all clean. Where the vehicles are, there was a spot very close to the actual driveway that I wasn't able to see. But looking at it, you know, he's saying the whole thing's done, so I will check on it first thing in the morning. And if, as long as everything's done, I see no reason to keep that violation open.
Yeah.
We'll take your word.
Motion's been moved and seconded. If you go out there tomorrow and it's a mess again, then you can cite them again.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one question. Does Mr. Murphy have to sweep the dirt that was in his swale out of there to be in compliance? Because we have a lot of people in town
Yeah,
and that same thing. I'm just asking.
I
because
mean,
I don't
when
know.
you clean your driveway to say, hey, your driveway's clean, I think all of that should be free there. It does develop again. That's everybody's driveway that happens.
Right.
But if you say, hey, your driveway is dirty, the day that you inspect it, the entire driveway should be clean.
Okay,
Now, I mean,
Okay, well, we have to vote on this.
yeah. Just wanted to know.
Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, case 23-0217.
I'll do this one. And Mr. Murphy, understand, I appreciate you doing celebrating and trying to bring a little joy to everybody. And not everybody celebrates that, so I enjoy it. This motion is, I'm just doing it because unfortunately, if one person is allowed to do it, then everybody, and it appears that you have stuff up for months, nothing personal, you know. But and I know it gets tough if who wants to go up there, especially in the heat. You do it in July, but based on the testimony evidence presented in case number, let's see here, 27-0217, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of section 30-4 of the town code ordinance, and respondent shall comply with the town's code ordinance on or before, I'm going to put it for our next meeting, April 26 of 2023. If the respondent fails to comply with the order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on April 26, 2023, if necessary.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Further discussion?
The ordinance that's written now allows him to have those decorations up for 30 days after the holiday. Right?
Yes.
And the holiday is when? The 20?
Oh, Easter's April.
Easter's
16th.
April
April 9th.
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 Well, by April 26, Easter will be over.
Do you think you can have your deck?
60 days for the 4th of July.
Well, let's just stick with where we are
Yeah.
right now.
Do you think you can have the Easter decorations down by April 26th?
We have a problem. That is, what am I taking down?
Lights.
All of your decorations for Easter.
Further discussion?
It means remove remove holiday decorations. So that includes the red house, the lights. It's just,
But he's going to change them to Easter or to 4th of July.
But he can't do that
Can't do it
until
till
60
60 days ahead.
before the 4th of July, which would be the 4th of May.
Yeah, I got it. On the 4th of July. I understand that
If you can have them up 60 days
Easter.
prior to the holiday.
And 30.
Easter, after Easter. Yeah.
And then you can put them back up, like she said.
Okay. There's a motion that's been seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
what's my right of recourse on this? Because you're calling it a holiday lighting.
I would think you'd have to take that up with the town council.
Thank you. Am I done?
You're done.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you
Murphy.
for coming in.
Okay. Ms. Brandenburg's here.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
We'll take case 230013. Louise Brandenburg and Clement Brandenburg, 1890 Carissa Road. Welcome. Who's going to present this? Dana? Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. So I have a lot of explaining to do. If anyone gets lost, you need me to read something, just interrupt me and tell me. The code board members interrupt me and tell me you need me to repeat something or re-explain something.
Okay.
All right. I received a complaint. So therefore, on January 26th of 2023, I issued the property located at 1890 Carissa Road for having a fence in disrepair, which is kind of the way how the section reads, a missing section, and there was like a chicken wire style fencing there. Now, the backstory to this is in a previous violation, which has been complied with, there was a shed. So it's beautiful white PVC fence, then a shed, and then there's wood fence. So the shed has been removed. Like I said, case has been complied. So that's a non-issue. But there was that chicken wire there and a gap in a fence. So the reason I received the complaint is because that gap in the fence is being used for the owners, the Brandenburgs, to sit there and video in a harassment form the neighbors. So with that being said, the neighbors took a section in that photo there. These photos that she's showing are taken by Eric, that wooden fence that's there that's leaning up a tree. So with an investigation in regards to harassment, I allowed them to keep that fencing up to help with that case because that's what the complaint is, that they were using the missing section for. And they would not be able to keep that if there was a section up there. They understood that. So with that being said, I did not receive any communication from the Brandenburgs. So therefore, on February 17th, Eric was fairly new. So he was practicing with doing postings on a few other properties as well. So we issued that property for the same thing for today's hearing notice on February 17th, 2023. The notice was posted on a little black fencing that is outside the front door. And then, of course, like you said, posted at Town Hall. So still zero communication in regards to that. However, over the weekend on Saturday, Mrs. Brandenburg contacted Eric on his department cell phone and demanded that he come over there and make her neighbors remove that wooden fencing leaning up the fence. He contacted me and asked me about it. I felt that that was not an issue for him to address because he was not aware of some of the case and that I would take care of it when I returned to work. I didn't feel that was fair or proper for him. So therefore, he did not respond for that. Shortly after, Mrs. Brandenburg contacted him again and demanded that he come out and inspect her property for her code violation. So he called me for that. Absolutely, you can inspect her property. She has a violation. She's asking you to inspect her violation. We have a due diligence to her to inspect the violation. So he makes arrangements to go with her, and then she tells him, oh no, come in 30 minutes, we'll have it done. So he then goes out there and he can explain, but apparently there was some type of a misunderstanding and he placed her in compliance. He had explained to me that she had removed her entire PVC fence and that I think there's just a miscommunication. Like I said, he'll explain. So this morning I received a phone call from Mr. Rivera to ask if the meeting was still happening because he would like to speak. And I had said, oh yes, the meeting is still happening. You're welcome to come. However, the property's been placed into compliance. And he said, I'm a bit confused because it's still, the section's still there. And I said, you know what? Let me just drive by and take a look. He gave me permission to walk on his property as well. So walking on the property, these are my photos that I took this morning. And this is what you have. Now, when Eric went out there, that black, it's like a temporary style fencing that I don't believe you would need a permit for, is up and a private property sign is posted on it. So that's the fencing that was put up. I don't feel that that is in compliance. I feel that it's wise to have the code board address it. I've cited people in the past for having gaps in fences for, they've done septic work and they'll forget to put the sections back up, things like that. I don't see that there should be a break in her fence. The shed was there and that served as part of the fencing, but the shed is no longer there. So, and once that is addressed, if they need to put up the fencing or they don't, if they put the fencing up, Mr. Rivera will move it. If they don't have to have the fencing, then Mr. Rivera will have to find other measures, of course, that's already been addressed and he has no problem complying with anything. But for the time being, the wood fence is there, just a section leaning against a tree.
So the black fence.
Oh, and let me add one more
is on
thing.
Whose property?
The black fence is on Mrs. Brandenburg's. That's hers. And let me add one more other thing. After she put him in compliance, she demanded again that Eric go over there and make her neighbors remove that wooden fence. He did contact me once again, and I told him again that I felt that it was not necessary for him to address that and I would take care of it. So, which I had intentions on, but I didn't know that the violation was not in compliance. And then Mrs. Brandenburg was recontacted just to let her know that she would need to attend the meeting and there was an error and she's not in compliance.
So the fence that's in disrepair that was cited is where?
So,
I promise.
So I labeled it as fence in disrepair because it's missing a section. So she has a beautiful, that white PVC fence, beautiful white fence. That gap there where the black fencing is was a shed at one point, which is a non-issue. The shed is gone. So you have a gap. And then she has wooden fencing that continues back there. So there's a break in the fencing. And I don't understand why they want to keep that break there. But like I said, it appears that that missing section is used so they can sit there and video the neighbors.
So
Mr. Rivera can explain.
So the black fence is not a permanent fence.
No, it's just like a little temporary one. I think you can buy them at Home Depot. They're nice, but I don't see.
Garden fence.
Yeah.
So what's on the other side of the tree?
That is Miss Brandenburg's property.
Okay.
That is an empty section where a shed used to be. But she had to remove the shed because the town advised her to.
And then from where you're standing, like what's behind you? If you're
The Rivera residence.
Okay. And I'm
So-
assuming that's your resident?
Yeah,
You're
there's a
shaking your
couple
head.
other
Okay.
photos and I do have the photo to show again, the shed is in compliance, but I have the photo so that you guys can see that there was a good sized shed there that filled that gap.
Okay.
And it was chicken wire on the side of the fence. So she's removed the chicken wire and the shed and now she's put up that black fence.
And so does that face the side, like, does that open gap face the side of the Rivera house?
Yes, they
Okay.
will sit in the open gap on their own property.
Mhm.
They're not on their property, they're on their property. And they will video the Riveras to harass them, which is an ongoing aside case that's being
Do
handled.
you have a
Yes.
picture of what that looks like? The Brandenburg's view to the neighbor?
I do.
Now
So,
that fence that's leaning, whose
that's
property is where?
so if you look at the white PVC fence,
Yep.
that very nice fence, that belongs to Mrs. Brandenburg.
And she's on which side of that?
She would be on the left side.
Okay.
So on the right side, you have that tree
Mhm.
and then you have that wooden section. That is the section that the Riveras have placed up as a temporary thing to give them a little bit of a privacy in the meantime. That will not be staying there. That is a separate issue.
Okay.
Their home is right there. That is their side property.
That photo is taken from the Rivera property.
That photo I took from the Rivera property because I was told by them that I can go on that property to get the photos.
So does a fence on a property line require a permit?
Yes.
All fence requires.
The wooden fence is not, it's just leaning on a tree. I actually even touched it and
I'm talking about the black fence. So if the black
Oh.
fence is on the property line,
Oh, that little fence? You just
that's a
said a fence.
temporary, that's not a permanent fence.
Not a
She just
permanent.
stuck that in the ground. I don't even know if she needs a permit to add in the section. That would just be something the building department would address.
So if there was a fence there next to the shed that's since been removed, I don't think there's a requirement, is there, to put a fence between two neighbors?
So
If there's a
it's,
pool.
it's a very odd break in the fence. And that's why I brought it here. Like I said, if they don't need it, okay, so be it. And then if the Riveras want privacy, they'll have to get their own fence. That's just the way it is. But she has a wood fence on the other side, which I can't get on her property.
It looks like sort
There's a
of
break.
that wooden fence goes this way, except for that one piece.
There's a break in the fencing.
Can we go back to that other photo? Do I get to talk?
Sure.
Miss Brandenburg, you will be able to talk. Yes, just hang on a
I'm
second.
just trying to establish here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a visual of.
That's
So the fence that was cited for being in disrepair is no longer there?
So that's just the way our section reads. So that's just usually how I put it. And that's why I put / it's a missing section. That's how I've always addressed them. She had a shed there. So if she had never had the shed, she would have had the fence.
So there's no requirement to have a fence between properties?
Well, no, but there's no section there. So it looks odd that you have a fence, a section, and then another continuing fence.
Well, it looks like the PVC goes this way.
It does. She changes it to wood. The other fence
So
is
the other
wood.
way.
The Riveras have a wood fence on their side, a side of what's leaning up against the tree. But she has her own wooden fence with a gate.
Because it looks like there would really be difficult to put a fence there because of that tree.
Can I ask to start with, is there any pool on either property?
Mrs. Brandenburg has a pool. Her pool.
Okay, well, that's a life safety issue.
It's
to have.
secure.
No, she has a fence.
It's.
Her pool is
Okay.
secure. Yes.
Is there a
She has
Go ahead.
the shed served as the fencing for her. She added the PVC fence permitted later. So when the shed was removed, there's a break in her fencing on her yard. It just looks weird, and it appears as if we're keeping the opening to be able to video the neighbors.
Do you,
Wait.
Yeah, I
Irrespective
think
of,
we need to,
irrespective of what that gap is used for, is there a requirement that once you start a fence, you've got to finish it to
So-
the end?
So if you drive around and people put, oh, I'm just gonna throw up a section here, we'll skip a section, we'll put a
I
section.
understand.
So that's kind of what it looks like to me, but that's not what they did
Okay.
because there was a shed there.
All right.
So it kind of just blended in, and I don't even think you can use a shed as your fence. I don't know. But there's just a missing gap. So it goes PVC gap, and then it starts her wooden fence, which makes her pool secure.
can I ask, Mr. Vera is here?
Mr. Rivera is here.
Rivera is here.
He sits
Why doesn't-
outside.
And why doesn't he put up a fence?
He can give his side. I don't know if he-
Well, you know what?
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure.
I
if this
have to
is-
try to understand.
Can I talk? I can make it easy.
In a second,
asked for Mr. You want me to get?
in a second. No, not yet.
No, not yet. I'm just,
sorry.
I'm trying to understand if a fence isn't required between two properties, what's the issue? I don't think there's an issue.
I don't see one.
Specifically, if there's a property and there's no fence between the property and there's no requirement to have a fence between the property, I don't see where there's a violation.
I agree. This seems a little domestic.
Yeah.
Something is going on, but
And I-
What fence is what?
So that's why we come before you. So PVC fencing, break-in fencing, and then it starts the wood fence. So yes, there is no ordinance that says her pool is secure. There's no ordinance. It's just I'm giving you the backstory as to there is a piece of fence leaning up against a tree, so I have some explaining to do. But there is a break in her fencing, so it just looks odd. Why is there a
I don't want to get any deeper into this
break in the
Can I
fencing?
than trying to keep it real.
Sir,
specific.
you're not talking.
We think, if we know that there's no fences required in that section,
There you go.
That's all we need to know.
that's all.
Except that his fence is
Wait a
encroaching
minute,
on my
wait.
property.
Wait a minute.
I would add that a fence leaning on a tree is a hazard to anyone.
But that's-
So
that's
the
another
fence,
property.
that's a separate thing.
That's,
So what,
that's a different property.
yeah, that is just leaning on a tree for privacy. That,
For whose
That's
privacy?
not her property.
that's not hers.
Yeah, and-
She did not put that there.
Cases About her property.
Right.
And yeah, there's, yeah.
So who does the tree belong to?
So, okay, so Mr. Rivera raised his hand that the tree belongs to him.
No, it's on the property line.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point, as far as I'm concerned.
So you can have a fence with a missing section. That's what we're here to find out.
There's no code that says you have to have a fence.
But the fence is missing a
But if you
section.
do one, I understand if you do have a fence, then it has to be according to
In
code.
good repair.
In good repair and all that
Permitted.
stuff, correct?
And permitted.
Right.
Correct.
And-
That's why I cited it as it's missing a section.
Mhm.
I didn't know, most people, when I cite from it, they just put up the section. People will do septics and you'll see like a break in their fence and it's the same way it's handled. They'll forget to put it back up. So that's why I kind of handled this one the same way. It's a break in the fencing, even though she's changed her style of fencing, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a break in the fencing. So
Right,
when
so-
you're missing a section, to me, it appears to be in disrepair.
Okay.
That's why it's done.
Let me
that.
ask you also this, being that one being used like a lean-to to have privacy, is that property, is Mr. Rivera planning to put his own
So,
fence and have his own?
Those are questions we'll have to ask him, but he knows he cannot keep that
Let's
leaning
stick
against
to
a tree.
Mrs.
No.
Brandenburg's property,
Okay.
not another property.
Okay.
And the issue is a fence and disrepair, but I'm hearing that we don't have to have a fence there.
I'll make a motion.
Deb wants to make a motion.
Let's see. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 230013, I move that this board finds the respondent in compliance with section 34199D and 3420 of the town code of ordinances and dismiss the case without prejudice.
Thank you. Can I just say one thing? I'm not allowed to say something?
We're still voting.
Is there a second?
Oh.
Is there a second to Debbie's motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion among the board members? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Nay, nay.
Motion carries.
Do I get to make a statement?
It's not necessary.
Yeah,
Or can I make
You're
one?
not in
I think you're
violation.
good.
I know,
I would
can
welcome
I-
Point, ma'am, if there's a pending
No, I
criminal
was brought
issue
in
going.
here by harassment, by
But
danger.
that's not us.
That-
Okay, there was
unfortunately-
no
Okay,
reason
it
for being
doesn't-
brought in.
It doesn't sound like that. It sounds like there was,
Yes, it does. And on 9/19, she called me a racist in front of the chief. She's out for me. I'm going to selective targeting. I've been targeted for a dead dog.
Ma'am, you're all set.
okay,
all
thank
set.
you.
You're all
Thank you so
set.
much. Have a good
Please.
night.
Well, no, none of it went together.
Okay.
So-
Mr. Lester, are you ready to go next? Okay.
Wait. Hey, sir, we're not talking about that case.
Not gonna-
This case is over.
Okay. We're going to take case 230120, Gary Lester. There's two cases here. One regarding a dirty driveway and the other prohibited outdoor storage. Before we talk, Mr. Lester, Dana or Eric, are you going to present?
Yes, this is my case, sir.
Okay.
I'm Code Enforcement Officer Eric Richwagon with the Town of Lake Clark Shores. This is case number 23-0120 and case 23-0218. A notice of violation was issued on 2/23/2023. It was sent out regular mail and posted to the property. The violations are for section 34-19 subsection 9B. The driveway was dirty and needed to be cleaned. Subsection 34-20 nuisance, and 34-19 subsection 7 prohibited outdoor storage. The notice of hearing was posted to the property and to town hall on 3/9/2023. I did go out today. I met Mr. Lester. The driveway is fully clean. He brought some events to my knowledge about the outdoor storage, and I believe, sir, you said you need about 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so he's very open. He seems like he wants to come into compliance, so I just want to make sure the board knows that it was very good interaction, and he seemed like, I even saw him out there finishing the driveway himself.
Okay, so you saying that the driveway is in compliance?
Yes, it is. It looks absolutely, beautiful.
Okay. And the outdoor storage, is that, they're still there today?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Lester, when are you going to get rid of all that?
I'm hoping within the 2 weeks, by the end of the month, I should have everything finished. I still do have a little bit to finish on the driveway there too also. Eric came by today. I was almost done, but I didn't quite get it finished. So I'll be working on it. That's why I came tonight, just to ask for extension for 2 weeks approximately. By the end of the month, I should have everything finished. Hopefully, maybe sooner than that.
Question?
So, and that's just for the outside, the outdoor storage violation. The other is already in compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I have a little more cleaning still to do on that. He says it's in compliance, but I still have a little more.
Good.
So.
He had already sprayed it with the chemicals. I felt that because he was already finishing that last little part, I saw him spraying it, figured it to be fair, because he already did the largest part, to put him in compliance, because I saw him, physically working on it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit left, and I told him I'm trying to get it done, but I had to basically stop. We had more daylight, I would have still been working, but I had to stop. I told him I was going to stop to get here for the meeting tonight, but I should be in compliance. So, if I asked him, I'd say if I have, a couple more weeks by the end of the month somewhere in there, I should be finished. So.
Okay, so
Nice.
related to the driveway violation, I'm just wondering why that was not one of the cases that was put in compliance at the beginning of the hearing.
So the reason being, I didn't know, that's Eric's case. So he's kind of still new, just learning. And then just for the record, he didn't realize the property changed hand. I didn't catch it until we came in here. They're not repeat violations. So it's just an error. So
Okay.
apologize for that.
So do you want to dismiss this then on your own?
The driveway?
Yeah.
Well,
If the driveway is in compliance, you said, right? So the driveway is in compliance. So you're just discussing the open storage.
We'll vote on that case.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the outdoor storage. You're working on it and you think you'll have it all gone by 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further discussions? Would someone like to make a motion on 230120?
I'll do it.
Jerry?
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0120, I move that this board find the respondent in compliance with sections 34-19 sub 9 sub D and 34 I'm sorry, wrong one.
No.
Section 34-19 sub 9B, 34-20 of the town code ordinance and dismiss the case without prejudice.
Second.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now case 230218.
I'll do that one. Let's do. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0218, I move that this respondent be found to have failed to comply with the order of finding the violation dated. I guess today. I don't know.
That's wrong one.
Should be number 1.
Number 1. I apologize.
Okay. We've got
All right. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0218, I move that this board find the respondent in violation of sections 34-19 sub 7 of the town code of ordinances, and the respondent shall comply with the town code of ordinances on or before April 26 of 2023. If the respondent fails to comply with the order in a timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $50 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on April 26 of 2023 if necessary.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Oh, one opposed. Okay. Motion carries. Okay, Mr. Lesser, just get it done.
Okay, I will. I would have started sooner, this paperwork. I couldn't read what it said on there.
Too late?
Yes, sir. I couldn't read.
Gotta write
you know,
harder, Eric.
on either one of the copies. But when I got the other one posted, the yellow ones, a lot more clear to read, easy. I got right on it. And the driveway, I didn't even know the driveway. I thought what it read was to remove the stuff out of the driveway. I didn't know about cleaning. So
Okay.
that's why it's taken so much longer, the cleaning. I worked on the removal first, and it's only been the last few days since I got the other. I started working on the cleaning the driveway part. And I have a circle driveway plus the long driveway straight. So it's a lot of work, but I'm steady on it, trying to get it finished.
Thank you for your effort.
Okay, I'll
Thanks.
keep on. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
For your time.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Bye, Mr. Lester.
All right.
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
See y'all.
Yeah. I mean, after we're done.
I don't know that it's appropriate to be honest.
Compliance.
We're going to go back to case 230053, Margaret Stewart. Prohibited outdoor
that-
storage.
That's been okay.
Compliance.
That's in compliance.
So that one is in compliance, but that is a repeat offender. So I checked with the town attorney and he said that it was up to the board if you guys wanted to discuss it or not because it was a repeat offender.
There is some kind of ordinance for repeat offenders, correct?
A repeat violation can be, even though they take care of it before the hearing, you can still impose a fine from the date the violation recurred till the date of compliance. Now, you don't have to. That would be up to you.
And part of the reason for that is someone could continually repeat
Mhm.
and get it done before it gets to us.
Right. They'll just keep doing it.
What is the storage that was out there?
We actually do have photos of it if you want to see.
That would be
Yes,
great.
please.
By her front porch, she had a old dishwasher, stacks of magazines, assorted boxes and items. That's what it looks like today.
That's today.
So this was when I went to post. The resident had actually placed that umbrella, so I couldn't physically go to the door and yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I did have to post to the umbrella, which yeah, there you go. There's another picture.
Wow.
He's
So-
getting some new
So
experience.
this is what it looks like
They've never done.
today. Keep going.
So there's, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the front door?
Yes.
When was the other violation? This is a repeat. When was the first one or second or third one?
Are they here?
No.
No,
I've driven by this house a lot. There's always
Yeah.
things outside.
it's been an ongoing.
I really hate to see what it looks like inside.
Wow.
There you go.
So are they not here because they were placed in compliance and they didn't know we were
So-
going to hear it?
I would say that would probably be fair to say because I didn't know any better. It was a repeat violation, but it was brought into compliance and I asked the town attorney at the beginning of the meeting. So that could be fair to say that she didn't know she needed to come because of the repeat violation.
So when was the first violation? How long ago? What was the time frame?
Right, sure, that one.
Notice of hearing was issued 16/19.
You're asking when the other violations were brought to the code board or the first violation for?
Well, the repeat of this code violation, when was that? When was it?
So
the one that
she
made this
has
a repeat?
one, June 10th of 2019, she was at the code board for the open storage on the front porch. Let me see if she was
Well, we just heard that this is not unusual.
I know.
For this property, no.
So I would say this person is in violation as a repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Do we have a maximum we can
Written a regular
find for
violation,
repeat offenders?
Not taking her to the.
It's up to 500. I think the concern I would have is if she had the impression she didn't need to appear
Notice, right.
because
Yeah, I would.
So can we set a fine and position here?
let me tell you what the statute says, and I'm not sure if the towns, do you have a separate notice of repeat violation?
No, I've always just been told to write repeat violation on the hearing notice.
Yeah, well, See, there may be an issue there too. Let me tell you what the statute says. It says if a repeat violation is found, the code inspector shall notify the violator, but is not required to give a violator a reasonable time to correct the violation. And then it says you can schedule a hearing. It says the case may be presented to the enforcement board even if the repeat violation has been corrected prior to the hearing, and the notice shall so state. So we need to get a repeat violation notice of hearing that says you're in violation. You can be fined from day one. And even if you fix it, you can be fined and a hearing scheduled on such and such a date. So I'm not sure that the notice was proper.
So the
That would
thing,
be a new code?
Will just be a new notice. That's,
well, could we, since we didn't do it for this one, could we just, if it happens again, do it? Because I
Sure.
feel that it would be fair to her.
yeah,
Well,
I agree.
would
I
almost
agree.
say, couldn't you just notice her to be at the April
Yeah, continue. that.
code meeting?
Only thing with that is she wasn't noticed like the proper way, like he's saying. So she's always been used to, she knows how it works here. She played him a little harder than she plays me. She actually has never done it to that extent. Dana, I need more time. Dana, I need more. I have the issue with her and her brother both. They both are residents. They need more time, and they're the nicest people. And then she'll comply at the last minute. So we haven't really told her properly that like, hey, if you do this, so I don't think that it's fair. If it wasn't done correctly, I was never educated on the repeat, and I'd like to from here on out address it
I think so. And have.
properly, just to be
Yeah, that-
What do
fair.
we need to put in writing so that this?
And it sounds like we need a new form.
You need a new form,
Yeah.
a notice of repeat violation form.
Yeah.
What I read is from the state statute, so that's the law. So we'll get a form together that complies with the statute, and then when they're cited, they can comply 2 weeks later, but they still have to come in and you can still impose a fine.
So the code would not put them in compliance and dismiss it prior to the hearing. It would still have to be heard as a repeat.
Right. I mean, they could put them in compliance, but they still could be fined, so it still has to come before you.
So okay, so now that she's
You need a
repeat, if she, let's say in a couple months, she has open storage, if it's on the side by the garage, I've had issues with that too. So open storage is open storage. Would she get an actual notice of violation, or would she get that repeat?
If
offender?
it has to be the same code section.
Okay. So
But it would be the additional notice of repeat violator under the same code section.
no matter
right.
where that,
Yeah.
with the new form.
Right.
She would get the regular
So I'm assuming,
notice with.
Now, she just gets the notice of repeat violation.
Okay.
I'm assuming
That'll be
in,
its own form and.
yeah, in the new form, it'll give you a place to put whatever ordinance
That's a fine.
they're violating again.
Okay.
Right.
So then you just like write that in
She
there.
would get that one first right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure
So,
that.
so is it going to be all right for the code enforcement officer to write repeat until the forms come in, or somehow could she do that? Because
No,
probably this is going to happen again.
we can have a new form, this week.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So are we going to renotice her with a new form?
No.
I think I'd let this,
I don't think
Yeah.
it's fair.
Okay.
And I don't, so if she does it again, we'll do it this way or any other
All
resident.
right, I'll do it. Okay. Which one is that? Two. No, two, but which, page 4?
Oh,
Up the top page.
4 at the very,
Margaret Stewart?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number 23-0053, I move that this board finds the respondent in compliance with sections 34-19 sub 7, 34.20, and I move that this board of the town code ordinance and dismiss the case without prejudice. Second.
any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Wasn't there one we were supposed to come back?
No, that's the
Yeah.
one. That was the one we. came-
No, it's
No?
on,
No, it's this one. David James, right here when we started, I thought.
Right.
yeah.
Number 11 on page 3.
Page 3.
Mr. Chairman, could we see if Mr. Rivera would like to say, I'm glad you're staying, but if you'd like to say something, I think we ought to.
Well, I don't think.
You know, I
there's anything
think,
for them to say.
I think it's in the best interest. We have a criminal investigation going on that's been turned over to the state attorney's office for review. And I think he should not say anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
And the case was dismissed that he was involved with, and
But you heard the board's comments about the fence that you have up, so,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks.
Good night, you're welcome.
so what case have I just,
I think it's this David James.
Okay, yes.
23-001.
8311 Waterway Drive.
okay. 230034, David James. Dana?
Yes, so backstory on this, I issued a adjacent property violation. And the person came in and was very upset with me because I've never addressed the pool in the backyard of this house. Well, I don't see the pool, so I did not know. They were very upset. It's been green for many, many years. Would that constitute a safety issue?
Yeah.
So that person wished to remain anonymous.
I don't think
I
they're
thought
allowed
you
to
can't
anymore.
allowed to be anonymous.
For safety issues, you can.
Oh.
That's the only thing that is exempt from the non-anonymous.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the statute on
So
that.
I wasn't sure if a dirty pool, I would think an unsecured pool, but that's why, just in case it comes up,
Well, how would she know? She's a neighbor, so what, she allowed to
So
go in
I
the yard and you can go
Just say,
see it?
so here's what this person did. I asked them how you got the photos. They're looking over the fence. I cannot legally look over the fence. So they showed me photos of the pool, but didn't give them to me to keep. And I said, okay, well, the day of the meeting, I would have to come out there and take photos of, I have to be able to see the pool. Like if your fence is broken or something, but I can't look over a fence. So Eric did go out there today and he can attest to, he can smell it, which that's pretty odd. And the mosquitoes and this person has a bunch of bug catchers and they're trying to live with it.
Well, I can see it on Google Earth.
So, but I was gonna say on Google Earth, we did look at the pool and it was green, but I don't know how often that updates. Mr. James has had zero communication with me about the pool. I don't know what the issues are. So therefore, February 17th of 2023, I did issue the violation for the pool. The first, I didn't think I told you the first one. The first one was issued February 3rd of 2023 for the mosquitoes, they have rats, et cetera, pool unsanitary, section 3420, which is under that nuisance, and then 34199A, zero communication, posted on front door, sent via mail, and therefore hearing notice for today's was scheduled, or was issued February 17th of 2023, same property, same violation, posted on the front door by Eric. And then he did go out for follow-up today, which he can attest to.
Town council, can I ask, what is our, because obviously this is a safety issue. This is something that's probably been going on for a long time.
He
This
said
is a-
6 years is what
Mm.
I was told.
What is the town's recourse when it's something like this? Because
Lives
obviously,
there too.
yeah, but if he does nothing, what is the town's recourse? Because this is something that should be dealt with, I personally feel, immediately, especially we're coming up to summer, West Nile virus, whatever. There's things that can,
Said he can smell it.
that's not good. I mean, I
Eric
take,
can, if you want to hear from
I was
Eric.
wondering why there's so many mosquitoes here.
So I knocked on the neighbor's door directly to the left of this property. Luckily, the homeowner just happened to just arrive. He took me into his backyard. He has 4 industrial bug zappers for the amount of mosquitoes that he's dealing with. Being from Florida, we all know, the smell of stagnant water. This is putrid. Like, as I walk close to the fence, you can smell it has been rotting. Well, this is my personal opinion because I didn't get to see it because I can't see over the fence. But the smell coming from just me getting close to the fence was putrid, which means that water must have been rotting for a long time.
And how do they, this is gonna sound funny, but how do we know there aren't bodies in the pool? Can't the police access the backyard for that kind of a complaint?
No, he said he has rats and mosquitoes.
Is
Yeah,
this
but-
a health department issue at this point? I mean,
Yeah.
is that something
We
that we
bring,
could-
yeah. I mean, honestly, this is something tomorrow, I don't know. I would think, yeah, the health department or something, because
Let's see what-
Yeah, I don't know if the health department would come out or not. I haven't been involved with that, but you get asked.
Secured, by the way, too. That's,
Pardon me?
it's his pool is secured by fencing.
you still got to take care of it.
Could you do a welfare check?
Hmm.
We
Cool,
see
well,
Mr.
fair.
James all the time.
Is there a
Sometimes we drive
Mrs.
him home.
James?
No, he has a roommate. They change periodically.
Is there any kind of statute regarding this that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, town's recourse, if you get the health department involved, maybe. Other than that, the town would have to sue for an injunction to get a judge to order them to clean it up.
It's not a life safety issue then.
Well, it is.
Well, it is
If
with-
it's as bad as I'm hearing, it could be. Yeah.
Mosquitoes and the breeding.
And rats, I mean, this
He
is,
said he has rats.
that what's,
I wrote it on here.
What's your recommend?
I'll do,
Wait a minute.
I'll do a motion. Okay,
Let's see what his recommendation.
sure.
Well, the recommendation would be to give a very, very short time to comply. And then you could maybe do a $250 a day fine. And, and then bring it back for a fine assessment in April. And I don't know how it would go, whether you would request that the town council, I assume, would have to authorize litigation.
But how would we get the health department?
Well, I think the code inspector could call.
Is it better coming from the person that's dealing with it?
Could,
That can
if
attest
they
to
would,
being
they would
a-
call,
like a nuisance to them, because the nuisance to them.
yeah, if they would call, I mean, that would be fine. It might, I don't know who would have more weight, or whether the town calls and say, this is a nasty situation, and is there anything you can do?
Let's find them not in compliance.
Just a second.
And-
How,
And by the next meeting,
Well-
if they're not in compliance, then we can ask the town to,
if
the health
we're
department.
supposed to do it quickly, I have a question. Dana, on the citation on February 3rd, they have to come into, they're asking them to come into compliance or fix it by how long?
On the very first one for February 3rd, I gave 2 days. And normally I put that based on what they were saying, and I was hoping that he would call me and say, hey, this is what's going on.
Okay.
It was to try to kind of get his attention. I understand.
It's
a pool wouldn't
decorated
be
for St.
sanitary in
Patrick's
2
Day.
days, but there was no method of compliance, no communication.
Because it's our attorney says, do it quickly.
You can do it tomorrow.
Well, he got
That's
the
my thought.
Violation February 3rd, so.
Right.
Like Eric said, he can call the health department, and we can tell that complainant to call also, and then maybe the both of them.
Would we be better off doing an order finding violation or an order to cease and desist with an immediate
It's not,
number 11?
Yeah, let me look at
but it's not doing anything.
But cease doing what, I guess?
Having the violation,
Stop not cleaning your pool.
right?
Negative.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the neighbors all around there.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
It's,
There is a mosquito board in Palm Beach County. Maybe we could.
There is a mosquito,
Like they would come out and spray or something.
I don't know. I just heard this recently.
I'll
I
make a
just found
motion,
out that there
but I
was.
think waiting till next
No.
board meeting, I don't
No,
think
that's
it's
too long.
acceptable.
My opinion would be to start the fine as of tomorrow if it's not in compliance.
So that means we would have to give him an order quickly or something, right? If you're
Yep.
giving him.
Well, but you also have to have a hearing to impose the fine.
Yeah.
Well,
couldn't we impose the fine as of today?
I can do
Mm-mm.
fine assessment hearing will be held on in April, but we could tell them it needs to be on or before.
Yeah, I'd give a
Put a
week.
separate date for that.
Yeah, that can be a
Is this
quick date.
repeat Violation?
Let me double check. I don't,
That's a good one.
well, it's not, I didn't label it as a repeat because I didn't
Is-
know about that way, but I
Six-
could have written
6
an
years
actual
continuous.
violation.
Is the anonymous reporter, did they like recently move into the neighborhood or like,
Nope, he said he's been dealing with, that's why he was very,
Oh,
Oh, that he's
Very
been
mad at
dealing with,
me
okay.
Writing him a violation when he deals with.
Okay, got it.
I'm surprised he didn't use a drone. First get somebody that had a drone. Because you can do that, fly that from your yard.
Code enforcement can't, but
No, we can't,
I'll make a
Yeah.
motion.
we can't use a drone for that.
Let me find out if it's a repeat. That's what we're gonna.
So I have not found any in the file, but we purged a lot of stuff. So I've been here for 16 years.
Okay.
It could have been in the past, but as of right now, I'm not sure.
All right, well, let's go. I'll put a motion.
Only in the last 5 years, not.
All right. Based on the testimony evidence presented in case number, let me find, case number 23-0034, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of sections, next page, sections 34-19, sub 9A, and 34-20 of the town code ordinances, and respondent shall comply with the town code ordinance on or before March 24th of 2023. If the respondent fails to comply with the order in the timely fashion, a fine in the amount not to exceed $250 per day may be imposed. A fine assessment hearing will be held on April 26th of 2023.
Second.
third.
Any further discussion?
You're going to put a notice tomorrow, and I guess what do we follow up with in those 5 days, or the contact? Because honestly, I feel sorry for those neighbors.
Emily, will you be able to get it?
I'll do my best.
I know you're good. Don't worry.
But what I'm gonna work on this order first, and I'll probably just ask you, Paul, to come sign it tomorrow, and then we'll do the rest of the orders after that.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
What was the fine amount?
$250 a day.
Okay.
Not to exceed,
Not to,
not to exceed 250.
amount not to exceed 250. May be imposed.
Okay, I think case 230058 at the bottom of page 4. Rescue Impact, operating a business without a current business tax receipt.
Dana, when do the tax receipts have to be paid?
It's October 1st.
When?
October 1st.
Okay. So,
April
so,
or March.
so all these are the October 1st violations?
So just for the record, as a reminder, code enforcement we don't really do the business taxes. We just sign, they issue, building department sends out letters for them. They do their own renewals, and then they'll have us issue a case number and sign them, asking them to come before the board in regards to the violation. That's just the way it's always been done. So that's all we do with the business taxes. And then we can attest if we've had conversation with somebody or they tried to follow up. And sometimes Emily or maybe Yuli would have updates from them, but that's all code enforcement does with the business tax. Eric did physically go out and hand deliver them. So the ones that are on here are currently operating.
When were they hand delivered?
They were hand delivered on February 17th of 2023 for today's meeting.
2/17. Okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Can I just mention something first? So right now, the amount due, the total amount due, that's including the business tax and a penalty is $82.69.
This one?
Would that be the case for all these?
No.
No,
So Emily, how much is the business tax?
it's $66.15.
And the penalty fee, is that 25%?
Yes.
And does the town add the 250?
Yes, you can add that.
So, and then we can also add a daily running fine until they come into compliance, correct?
I don't think you can do that. No.
You're just upset.
Which, I'm just,
We do.
Bottom,
what,
bottom of page
In the
4.
world I live in.
bottom of 4058?
Mhm.
Do you have the right
$82
numbers?
Plus 250.
Yeah, it's this one here.
I mean, that's the max. For being 6
It's
months.
69.
Oh, it's a different one.
It's a deal.
No, this is, we're doing rescue impact. We're doing 23-0058, right?
Right.
Okay.
I don't know if they have that category for business.
I do.
What type of business is this, by the way?
You just not a president.
I don't know.
Not sure.
Rescue impact.
Let's get through it.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Okay.
That based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0058, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of section 5420 of the Town Code of Ordinances and imposes an additional penalty in the amount of $250. Respondent shall also be required to pay $82.69, which includes the past due business tax and the delinquency penalty. If respondent is not in compliance by April 26th, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Deb, you did that so good.
Yeah.
You should do the rest of them.
Okay.
Look to like this democracy.
Yeah.
Let's see what the fine is.
What's the, yeah, I guess Emily, the next business, what's the fine amount or the total amount for that?
Just, was Nicholas here for the vote?
No.
No.
Step
No?
down.
Okay, so then it's 6-0.
Let the record show.
Yep. The next one, the amount due is, the total amount due is $82.69 also.
Okay, based on testimony and evidence presented in case 23-0065, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of section 5420 of the Town Code of Ordinances and impose an additional penalty in the amount of $250. Respondent shall also be required to pay $82.69, which includes the past due penalty tax, business tax, and the delinquency penalty. If respondent is not in compliance by April 26th, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
I'll second it.
Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Based on the testimony and evidence presented in, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, the total
I'm on a
amount due
roll.
for this one is $110.25.
Okay. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0066, I move that this board find the respondent in violation of section 5420 of the Town Code of Ordinances and imposes an additional penalty in the amount of $250. Respondent shall also be required to pay $110.25, which includes the past due business tax and the delinquency penalty. If respondent is not in compliance by April 26, 2023, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
There's a
I'll
second.
second.
Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Based on
Case
the thing Emily's going to tell us next.
$192.94.
Okay, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 23-0068, I move that this board finds the respondent in violation of section 5420 of the Town Code of Ordinances and imposes an additional penalty in the amount of $250. Respondents shall also be required to pay $192.94, which includes the past due business tax and the delinquency penalty. If respondent is not in compliance by April 26, 2023, a lien will be recorded in the public records of Palm Beach County.
Second. Go ahead. Give to
Discussion?
Leslie.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I think that's all the case. Board comments. Mr. Attorney, I hate to say this, but based on what we've gone through with the trailer situation, I'm thinking that maybe we could do something about, the town could do something about the holiday light.
Yeah, I will talk to Charlie Scheck because it's.
And maybe
Kinda-
tighten up those timeframes too, because I mean, I voted against it, but just because, I mean, I don't think that he was necessarily in violation of code, whether I think if the code was written properly, I think he very well should have been in violation. So I think there needs to be a definition put in there and maybe some tighter timeframes.
Yeah, I guess, the tricky part will be what's a holiday? I mean, if you say federal holidays, for instance,
Mhm.
they're every, 2 months, 3 months?
Right.
I
mean, can't the town then, I guess, list the holidays and then make exceptions for certain other holidays? So if you're to say, for example, like Hanukkah or Christmas, you can have them, 45 days before and 30 days after, but for St. Patrick's Day, it's got to be down within 10 days or whatever the case may be.
Maybe.
That's a great.
You get, anytime you do something different for a different holiday, you start
I know, yeah.
getting into issues, and a lot of people celebrate or decorate for Halloween now. I mean, a lot of lights, a lot of
Yeah.
different spiders and.
I just think 60 days is a long time,
Yeah.
whatever the holiday.
But I will bring up the issue. I think it needs redone because, the
2 weeks.
you could say there's a holiday about every,
And
every 2
Memorial
months.
Day, Flag Day.
they
Yeah.
maybe 30 make up their own.
Yeah, Martin Luther King's birthday, and you go on and on and
You
on,
keep 'em up
President's
year-round.
Day, and
Does anybody have anything else?
Can I ask a question since Bill's here? So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding the fence because I've been writing that for many years where people have missing sections in their fence. So from what I learned tonight, the code doesn't constitute that. You can have missing sections in your fence because it's not required. But if you have a pool, that would be a different scenario. So I want to make sure that I treat everybody fairly.
yeah, I think that's true. I would, I don't think there's anything in the code that requires, a fence to be
Okay.
complete. But I'll talk to.
Yeah, I just, like I said, you know how I am. I like to do things fairly. And like I said, I've written many violations for people having breaks in their fencing.
I would say disrepair is kind of, if it looks like it fell,
That's
it
different
isn't there.
in my mind.
Yeah.
In this particular case, there was
A break in the, it's a break in the fencing.
a good fence and a good fence,
Yeah. and they were
With a
connecting
breakage
to
in the middle.
house.
nothing else.
Right. So
But a long wooden fence that has a section that's fallen over. that's
no,
missing.
they could just take it and put it in their backyard. They can have a missing section in their fence.
I would say that's a fence in disrepair.
No, because
I'm confused now.
Yeah.
That's not what you guys just did tonight.
I
No.
disagree because those fences, they terminated, the wood
Into
fence
the house, yeah.
terminated and the white fence it began and terminated.
It's a break in between two
They-
fences.
They both
Oh.
terminated into the wall. And I agree that it's a break along the line of the property, that there's no barrier, but those fences were designed and installed to
Right.
terminate into the wall.
Yeah, you could have a
That's the
front
way I
yard
saw
fence
it.
and a backyard fence terminating into the wall. I think it was really hard to tell in the photo.
It is, and I just like to
would
treat
agree with
all the
you.
residents fairly.
May I say, I would agree with you, Dana, if the intent was the wooden fence to continue and to abut to the white fence, but there was not a gap there, then we could say, okay, but they both turned into the wall. They were intentionally, is it stupid? Is it weird? Yeah, absolutely, it's weird, but like we've said, there's no code saying that we have to have a fence. It's only if you
Okay.
fence it, then has to meet certain.
Then I will help Eric learn the code accordingly. And when there is break in fencing, as long as there's no pool, they'll be fine. So if the fence is in
no.
disrepair and they
No,
remove
no,
a section,
no.
that as long as there's no disrepair there and they just decide, hey, I'm going to take the section out, then
I would say if the inside of the fence that terminates to a wall can hold an animal, you know, that in my mind is fine. Like, think about it this way. If you have a house that has a front yard fence that terminates into the sidewalls and then a backyard fence that terminates, you can have a break between those two fences. If that makes sense.
I think.
That's kind
it's
of
just
what I
that-
was seeing.
so-
Yeah, that's, and it's hard to
Well,
tell
I
on the,
think you're conflating like a missing panel that is that is clearly in somewhere between the beginning and the end.
there's two different fences.
There's two different.
The reason there's
fences.
two
They
different,
both began and terminated, well,
Yeah, why is that? Why is one wood, one PVC? It doesn't- it's
because there's a history there.
I have.
There's reasons behind all of that, and I don't know that that's relevant for me to
I have
put all that out there, but
fences, but the way they go and the way they're.
It just-
used and how, and where they're.
it
placed,
looks very
all work.
weird.
And it looks cohesive.
is it on the side yard or the front?
It's on the side. It looks very out of place, and
agree, it
I
looks-
just want to treat people fairly, that's all.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all my
I guess
motto.
if you feel that it needs to be brought up to us, then you can do that. And then we'll assess it with
Would that
photos.
be a okay and a legal way to do it, Bill?
And I think we would need to look at whether the ordinance would need
Tweaking.
to, but yeah, I mean, ordinarily, people are going to want a solid fence. I mean, this was
I would think, yeah.
somewhat unusual, I think.
Yeah, I
I
don't want to,
agree.
like, I just,
It was a little,
I couldn't tell by the property. I mean, I know like that.
and it's hard, I didn't get to go on hers and, you know,
Right.
Maybe
I-
an aerial photo or something from Papa that showed the perimeter or how the.
well, remember there was a shed there, so it looked fine.
Well, even
You were-
even if the aerial photo showed the old shed, I think that would have given us more of a,
Well, I said I had a photo of the old shed to show you.
why didn't you show us?
I said it.
Yeah,
It
and
was
then-
very difficult. It
That-
was,
Yeah, and there's not.
it's unique.
there's a lot going on, so it's no,
and,
Yeah, so
We understand.
I'm just asking, you guys made your decision on this case, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I just don't want to treat another resident any differently. It's like the lights. I kind of just left it alone. I'm hoping it gets revisited again because I don't think you should be able to keep Christmas lights up all year round, but that, you know, that was decided that that individual could. And I had a hard time writing other people. So what I would do is I would write them and hope they take them. And I never brought them before the board, but Bill Murphy's, you know, his are like excessive, like different. His aren't just lights. So that one was a little different. So I just, you know, I like to treat everybody fairly.
So the other case this other old case where the previous board found that that resident could keep lights up all the
It
time.
was the backyard lights.
It was the backyard, but then they decided to add them around the whole house. What's the
That was
difference?
the
Why
next-
could you keep them in the back but not the front? So
I
to
would
be
say
fair,
you could keep them in the back, but not the front.
they didn't say. So they were along the entire back of the house. And then when they were told they could keep them, I had to show him the house so he wouldn't write a violation because she was allowed to have them.
Could we-
So
would this
she
board
added
not
them.
Visit that case?
She actually changed the lights.
Oh.
Could
They're
this board-
Christmas lights though.
Well, the ones
That's
that-
why I leave them alone.
No, they've taken off the lights and they've put them on. They've had.
When I drove them around the town, the Christmas lights were still up. So to be fair, I mean,
I would think
I-
that Christmas lights would have to be down within 60 days. or
Right.
Within 30 days of the holiday. And I would think that you could cite them, even if the prior board said they were okay to be up year round, it's in violation of the ordinance.
I just left it alone. I tried to always go by, if I can't walk into your normal store and buy the lights, that's what made them Christmas.
Right.
You can
And-
decipher Christmas. to-
And while I would say that you wouldn't violate them for having them up in the backyard because you can't see them from the
But you can
front.
see them from the boat.
Okay.
But
So it's just, that's why it's, in all fairness, they added them to the entire house and left them up. That I felt was the fair thing to do.
just to go
because-
back with that fence thing, I don't think there should be a break at all, but I couldn't tell by the pictures that were provided.
Just bring the case to us,
Which one?
any of the fence things, and we'll decide at the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a hard time with that. I don't like to I feel tonight showed me that you can have breakage in your, like, I don't want to treat another resident any differently. You know, I try to treat everybody the same.
I think.
In our minds, we have a reason why we did that. Okay? So the next time there's a missing panel or whatever, just bring it to us and we'll
But
just,
hers is fine.
hers is fine.
I couldn't tell, to be honest. Well, I voted a certain way already. I was against that, but
I think the board's.
Well, in future, bring up discussion if I have to go back and present more stuff in any of the cases. If you need more, something's not good enough, it's always good to have extra eyes. We can go back out.
should we, maybe, is this
No.
something as a board, we should just visit the property? Let's look at it.
It's always encouraged, but the only problem, like with this one, it's very hard to see. You could see some of it from the street, but you had to go on the other person's property. So yes, we always recommend that you drive by, but it's hard, like it's not your duty to say, hey, can I go on that property? But you could tell us, hey, I don't really think your pictures are good enough. Like we would never be offended. No problem. We can go back out and get more photos. Sometimes that happens. Even with violations, some people might call, hey, you know what? Let's go back out and revisit that. Let's kind of go over it. And maybe the sun was shining a certain way and something was seen differently, like with roofs and driveways, and I'm trying to train him the same way to treat everybody the same across the board. So yeah, if like for that one, if you felt that could be something that you say, hey, your pictures aren't good enough. You need to go out and get more. Let's table it to the next meeting. And that would be fair to a resident and to give you guys more insight. And hey, it may make you still say, hey, this doesn't work. And that's fine. But if you need more information, please don't ever hesitate to ask. We can do it.
I think we should, because I don't want to encourage breakage in fences. Nothing personal, but aesthetically to me, it just doesn't look right.
It looks awful.
Well, and I think.
It does not look good at all.
We set a precedent tonight.
That white PVC fence for that, just because we're speaking about that, it's a beautiful fence, like very well kept, very well maintained. It looks very nice. So it just
But
looks
that breakage
really
in the
funny.
fence isn't necessarily visible from the front. It's only visible from that neighbor.
Yeah.
Right?
So so that makes it even worse for the neighbor that has to look at a break in the fence
To me,
and someone sitting there
Up a fence.
But if, just as an
recording
example,
everything you do.
If somebody, instead of putting a gate in, wants to leave an opening, say to push a boat in or whatever.
I'm going to say it's okay.
Yeah, so so what's the difference?
So if
It's just.
now I'm going to
it's
say
just
before I have not, I've made people put fencing up. It looks weird. To have a
Until
break in
or
your fencing.
unless we get a new ordinance that requires that boats be screened from the front, then they would have to have a gate.
Right.
I think it's hard for us to find anyone in violation after we've set the precedent tonight for a break in the.
For
fence.
breaking the fence. And that is how I will enforce the code, is I will allow breakages. If you have a swimming pool, no,
Yeah,
that's a different
no,
story.
Yeah.
But just to make sure we're on the same page, because I treat everybody the same.
Conflating, like when you're conflating two concepts and like one is of a fence that is intentional to be continuous or.
That break is
there's
intentional
a
now.
break in the middle, like, if there's no way to connect, they would have to put post that.
There is actually a post there. It was in the
middle
photo.
between those
There
two-
was an extra PVC white post there. Yeah.
I didn't see post in between those.
She's got an extra
'cause I
post there.
looked for them.
That's why I thought that
I looked for those.
because her
posts. I
fence
didn't
looks
see them.
very pretty. So I thought she would aesthetically, because looking at the rest of the home, it's beautiful. I thought that you would just put up the PVC fence, but then when I learned what the opening was being used for, it makes sense. So, and that's why I don't think that breakages in fences I think they're aesthetically tacky.
Right.
I
They
just
may
wanna say
be,
for the
but
record,
there's
we
no-
did not
We can't
So, and that's,
account for tape.
yep, perfectly fine. I will know, breakages in fences are fine.
No, they're not. Stop saying that. They're not fine. That's not what we said. That's not we're not. setting
Okay.
precedent.
So that's all. I got clarification. Thank you.
Is there any further business? Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Nicholas? This was a-
What a day.
What up? First.
He'd drink his whole water bottle thinking he'd be out of here in an hour.
This was unique.